Howdy, friend. I want to tell you about your favorite preacher show, a podcast. You may be thinking, your favorite preacher show? What in the world is your favorite preacher show? Well, as mentioned, it's a podcast. And it is one that I am doing, Rick Rolin. It is a show that will allow me to have opportunities to teach things that I think will be helpful to people. And you may be thinking, why call it your favorite preacher show? Am I everyone's favorite preacher? I would like to think that I am, but being a realist, I know that's not the case. In fact, I am sure that I am not everyone's favorite preacher, but I like that title. For some reason, I like the title, and so I decided to use it, your favorite preacher show. And at this stage in my life, I admit, as long as it is not illegal, I don't want to get in trouble with the law. As long as it is not sinful, I don't want to get in trouble with God. And as long as it's not hurtful to people, I don't want to get in trouble with people. But as long as that's the case, if I like it, then it really doesn't matter if other people like it or not. So I like the title, Your Favorite Preacher Show, a podcast. And I'm going to use it, hopefully, to be helpful to people who will tune in and listen and observe and participate. Now, I have been doing radio work for about 17 years. I do a daily radio program. I tell people I'm kind of like this friend of mine. Years ago, I met this man, and he had been in radio for many years. He had a wonderful voice. He had a voice for radio. But he told me the reason why he got into radio was because he had a face for radio. Well, I don't know about that, but he did have a beautiful voice, just a wonderful voice. Somebody listening and watching and observing might tell me the very same thing, stick to radio. Well, if that's the case, so be it. But I did want to take advantage of the technology that is available. And by the way, I am not a technical person. I'm not someone who understands technology. I have a good friend, a Christian brother by the name of Matthew, who is taking care of all that for me. In fact, the only thing I have to do is talk. He's going to take care of everything else. He set this up. He's going to take care of everything else. He told me to tell all of you that eventually, when the show is underway, you'll be able to see it on YouTube, Spotify, and eventually Facebook. Now, I don't have a Facebook account, so I got to get that set up. I am probably one of the few people in Middle Tennessee that didn't have a Facebook page. My wife, Sue, unfortunately for me, she passed away a couple of years ago, but she loved Facebook. She used to spend a lot of time on Facebook, and I used to tease her about it occasionally, but no harm was done. She enjoyed it. It was like entertainment to her. I just hate that she's not here to see this and maybe even participate occasionally with me when I deal with some Christian women issues. But I hope to have this up and running in about a week. I want to try to have the first show available in about a week. And I'm going to talk about what is your purpose for living and how everybody needs a purpose for living. I understand, friend, that we live in a fallen world, and I have been doing full-time church work for about 45 years. As I have grown older, I have come to understand just how challenging this old world can be. And even for those who are dedicated, committed Christians, we will also face difficult circumstances in this life. Sometimes it will be painful, and we'll need help. We need, most of all, God in our lives. I have come to believe that. I know there are people who have no concern for God. Some claim not to even believe in God. If that's the case, then I don't know what to tell you. But for me, I've never doubted his existence. There was a time, especially during my teen years, when I had no interest in God, but I was never a doubter. I've always believed that Jesus was God's son. But when I was 20 years old, all of a sudden I started thinking seriously about these things. I had a person that come into my life that made me want to think about these things. I started studying the Bible for myself, and eventually that year, 1976, I became a Christian. and I haven't looked back since. And I began to do church work about a year later. And as mentioned, I've been doing full-time church work for about 45 years. Well, I hope to use this podcast to be helpful to people who are struggling in any way, who need encouragement, and are interested in God's Word. I plan to talk about some things that hopefully will be helpful, occasionally some things that may even be a bit controversial. I don't want to just be controversial, but sometimes I will deal occasionally with something that could be a bit controversial, but I want it to be helpful to everyone. Well, I just wanted to pass that on to you. Eventually, this will be available, as Matthew wanted me to point out to you, at YouTube, Facebook, and Spotify. I hope to have the first program, the first show available in about a week. I'm going to talk about purpose. But until then, remember this, friend. God is bigger than all your problems. I know that's easy to say. And there was a time in my life when I said it, but I probably didn't understand it. But after years and years and years of Christian living, and now having to face difficult circumstances and having faced difficult circumstances, I know I have not only read in God's Word that God is bigger, but I have come to believe, because of the circumstances in my own life, that God is bigger than the problems that we encounter. And somehow He'll always find a way to help us. And He loves us more than we can even imagine. He loves us. In fact, the only way to even appreciate how much He loves us is by thinking about what He did. And what did He do? He sent His Son Jesus to this world. And what did Jesus do? He died on a cross, not for His sins, but for mine. And He did that to save me, to give me a relationship with God. The fellowship that was broken because of my sin is now gone. My fellowship has been restored, and I can live on earth as a child of God. I can pray every day. I can seek His help every day, and I can look forward to the time when, whether it's by death or His Son's return, I'll be able to come and live with Him in eternity. All that's been made available as a result of God, His love, and His mercy that He demonstrates through His Son Jesus. Well, again, I hope this will be available in about a week. I hope the first show will be available in about a week. And I hope you'll be looking forward to it. When it's up and running, I hope you'll be sure and let me know what you think about it. If you like it, especially let me know. You'll have an opportunity to subscribe to the program. I hope you'll do that. And so I hope all of you are looking forward to it now that I've introduced it. And again, I hope it's available in about a week. Hope everything goes well for you for the rest of the day. And until next time, remember this, friend. This is the day which the Lord hath made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it.